Hey, and welcome back to Real Housewife Recaps. Today I'm covering Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 4, Episode 1, That's the Way the Cookie Crumbles. So I'm going over these because I haven't actually watched this season yet, and I'm super excited about it. I know I'm late. But the new season, Season 5, premieres in August, and I'm so excited about that. So I just wanted to jump into these. And maybe you're watching them for the first time with me. Maybe you're rewatching them with me. Whatever, I thought it'd be a lot of fun to cover them. And let's get started. So right away, we get into some taglines here. So I'm going to go over each lady's tagline and we'll talk about it. So the first one is Gizelle's. Hers is, I'm the baddest one walking and the smartest one talking. Not my favorite for Gizelle. Karen's is, you can try to tear me down, but the grand dame never crumbles. And I'm just not a Karen fan, but it sounds like Karen, so Monique says, I've traded in my umbrella. It's all gold at the end of this rainbow. Does that make sense to you? Because it really doesn't to me. It's like she combined a couple of things there and it just didn't work. Robyn's is, the shorter my hair, the shorter my patience. I thought that was pretty good. Ashley's is, karma's a bitch, but luckily I'm on her good side. And hello, I already know, and I'm not going to give spoilers, but I had already heard coming into this what happens with Ashley and her husband. And of course, we get a glimpse of that on the first episode. So, I don't know that you should pick that as your tagline. That's probably not good. Candiace is, now that I'm marrying my prince, this sleeping beauty is woke. I'm just not a fan of that one either. I'm not really a fan of Candiace, so maybe that's more of why I don't really care about that tagline. What are your thoughts? What do you think about the taglines? I wonder what season 5's taglines are going to sound like. Okay, so let's get into the episode. We have Karen at home and the shady editors with this house thing and all the years of the dramas. Does she own her house? Is she actually at that house? Is there still a pizza outside the front door? We don't know. But they show where she doesn't know how to work the oven, which is funny. I found it very funny because it just adds to the idea that she doesn't actually own the home. So then we get over into Gizelle, and Gizelle is one of my personal favorites. I really love her. I think she has terrible taste in men, but I think she's a lot of fun to watch. So she's here. Of course, she's always shady, and I think it's hilarious. She shows, the falling out. There's a falling out, of course, with Karen. We don't have to go back all over that because they fall out all the time. But they fell out hard, and she's with her kids, and she's talking about making cookies. While talking about making the cookies for Karen, they kind of bring up Sherman. She needs to dump Sherman so bad. Again, I don't know where they are now, and I'm purposely not looking. I hope they're not together because I just don't trust this guy. So we have a flashback of her feeding him strawberries. No, thank you. But then we go into some flashbacks of the way it was with Karen. And of course, we see a very touching moment where she was giving Karen hugs at the last reunion, which was 2 weeks before. So that's interesting how they put it in the timeline there. And they kind of explained 2 weeks before was the reunion. And now they're filming, this season 4. Anyway, so Karen had just lost her dad. I believe he had just passed away, and just 7 months before was her mom. I might have that backwards, but it's just terrible. And, I'm not a Karen fan, but I feel terrible for her. That's really sad and awful. Wouldn't wish that on anybody. So then we see why her and Gizelle had been fighting. Gizelle had been tweeting shady things about the IRS and not owning the house and all that stuff. So anyway, so we go back and Gizelle and the kids are making cookies to try to make amends with Karen. So we leave Karen and we go over to Ashley. And I'm going to be totally honest with you. I like Ashley a lot. I think she's actually one of my favorites. But, oh man, I hate her husband. I know. It's very obvious to say that, but I mean, he's awful. He's disgusting. Not only because of what he did to her this season, just how awful he's been jerking around the last couple years about everything. When they separated, about re-signing a prenup, and about the kids thing. He's just terrible to her. So, ugh. I just think she's such a beautiful girl, and what does she see in that guy? He's terrible. So then Bravo is the devil, and they force us to watch this god-awful scene where Ashley's like trying to seduce him with a blindfold and some strawberries, and I just want to vomit. That's just awful. So they show the two, I'm using air quotes here, lovebirds, and they explained that they've been trying for a baby. She had unfortunately miscarried before, so they were trying. My heart goes out to anybody that's trying for a baby, but he is awful. I just want to yell, before you have this baby, run. That's terrible. So they're all lovey-dovey, and then, the editors, they show this 2 months later. I almost wish I didn't know what was coming. I wish I didn't know going into this. But it was still shocking to see. It's just crazy. So 2 months later, what does this asshole do? He's charged of sexual assault. Oh, God. So anyway, it sounds like we're going to get into that this season. I can't wait. I want to hear all about what the hell happened. Not that there's any excuse. I don't understand. It's shocking. Robyn's face here is exactly how I felt when I heard it. That's amazing. So... And then Candiace, you got Candiace talking to, I believe it was Karen about it. And it's just, they're talking about it being, of course, a felony. And oh my God. Okay. So then we get a flash. We flash over. Of course, they tell us it's 6 days until Candiace's wedding. And I'm so glad that the next episode seems to be the wedding, because I cannot sit through another season of Candiace pretending to be stressed out because she's drugged this wedding out so hard and spending so much money that she's so stressed out. I don't feel sorry for you. It's so crazy. I'm not a Candiace fan at all. I don't understand the money she spends. I don't understand that a grown woman is living off her mother. It makes no sense at all. So something interesting comes up here. Candiace is saying she doesn't talk about her half-brother, that her parents are divorced, but when they were first loves in college, her dad had a tryst, and that's how her brother came. And after that, her parents got married, and then they had Candiace. And she says, because my mother contributes a lot to my life, she thinks she owns me. And Chris says, you can't tailor your life to someone else's needs. And exactly. I mean, it makes no sense. You're a grown woman. If you're responsible enough to get married, you're responsible enough to take care of yourself and not depend on your mother. It makes no sense. Then we go back to Karen's house, and Matt, he's gross. Matt, the chyron there reads Karen's assistants in quotation marks. Way to go, editors. And they're hanging out, and then Gizelle calls up and says that she wants to bring these cookies by. They show Karen's house, so they kind of lead up to drama that potentially Karen won't be there because she doesn't live there. But no, she's there. She answers. They talk. At first, Karen says that she's not up for visitors, and then there's some drama, and she says she'll send Matt out to get the cookies, which is just ridiculous. It just makes no sense that she can't just greet, even if she doesn't like her. It takes 2 seconds just to greet her and take the cookies. So anyway, they ended up talking more, and she decides that's what she'll do. She'll come out, she'll get the cookies. She was very short with her. She got the cookies, and that was that. Gizelle tried, and Karen just wasn't having it, and I don't know, her and Matt shit talked a little bit. Then we go over to Monique and Chris. Monique is pregnant with her third. They're talking about having a party in a few weeks to celebrate her pregnancy. Chris says that Monique owes Gizelle an apology. They flash back to Monique talking about Sherman and the stuff he was up to in the park. And she said she did it despite Gizelle, and that she does owe them both an apology. She said the spirit of Ashley got to her, which was pretty funny. Then we have Robyn and Juan, and it's hard for me to get invested in Robyn. She's just not my favorite, and there's a whole weird scene here where they're at the spa, and she says they're back at it like rabbits, and good for them if that makes them happy. I don't know that I believe it. We'll see how the season plays out and if anything interesting happens, but it's hard for me to find her super interesting. So then it's 4 days until the wedding. Candiace is at home opening Tiffany wedding gifts. Ugh. Karen's hanging out. They have such a weird dynamic. Candiace loves to kiss Karen's ass. The bonsai tree that Ashley gave her at their engagement party is dead, which was pretty funny. Karen says it's a reflection of the person that gave it, because of course she hates Ashley so much. Candiace explains to Karen about the half-brother and says that anytime she mentions the brother to her mom, that the mom gets upset. He reminds her of her pain. He's a great person, and it sucks that she can't have him. And that the last few years she's hid her relationship with him from her mom. She wants her brother at the wedding, and mom doesn't know he's coming. And Karen asks Candiace what she's afraid of, and Candiace says she doesn't want her to hate her. And there was so much going on in this episode that they really just kind of time travel. So then all of a sudden it's Candiace and her mom Dorothy. They're having breakfast together, and it just no transition. She's just there, and it's time, and you can tell that she's scared and she's leading up to it. So she's kind of working up her courage and says, when I was younger, my dad's, and then the mom cuts her off and says, no, we aren't talking about that. Candiace says, we've developed a relationship and I've invited him to the wedding. Mom says, his cheating and lying, that's what you're bringing to the wedding. And Candiace says, if you want to be mad at my dad, if you want to be mad at my dad. But it's not fair to be mad at someone who has no choice. And that's how I feel. I mean, I think this whole thing is silly, but it doesn't make sense that the mom is mad at the son. It's not his choice. It's not his fault. And I think it's good that he's having a relationship. She's his half-sister. So they yell, they fight. Candiace is crying. Candiace walks off. Mom says, the crocodile tears don't mean anything. And that's how the episode ends. It's pretty harsh. So then we get a flash of the next episode. It sounds like it's all about the wedding, which, hallelujah, glad that's going to be over with, just not into it. I am very curious to see how the hell she spent $150,000 on a wedding. Gizelle says she felt betrayed. She feels betrayed. Not really sure what that's about yet. I'm guessing it's probably Sherman. It looks like Candiace's mom wears a white wedding dress looking dress to the wedding. And everybody gets to meet her half-brother, so that'll be interesting. Curious to see how that plays out. So I really want to see where this goes. I'm excited to get into this season. I know a lot is coming up. I don't know a lot about what's going to happen, but I definitely had heard about the Ashley and Michael thing. So I'm excited to see what the heck goes on this season. Can't wait. So that's it. So I will be covering the rest of the season. So if you're catching up, watch with me. If you're watching the first time, watch with me. Check them all out. I also recap Real Housewives of New York and Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, as well as Below Deck. So be sure to check them all out and subscribe. And you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Real Recaps. And I thank you so much for watching this video. And I hope you have a great night. Bye-bye.